Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes Mr. Obernolte for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am proud to express my support for H.R. 1435, the Preserving Choice in Vehicles Purchase Act, a bill that I was very pleased to introduce alongside my colleagues, Representative Joyce Latta and Bill Arakis. Obviously, I represent my home state of California. I have worked for many years with the California Air Resources Board. Let me tell you why I am so thoroughly convinced that allowing CARB to ban the sale of internal combustion vehicles by 2035 is a terrible idea, not only for California, but for the rest of the country. I represent over 100,000 people who commute long distances from my district back and forth to Los Angeles every day. And folks, they're not doing that because they want to and they enjoy driving for 2 hours a day. They're doing that because that's what's required to put food on the table for their families. They factor those choices in when they decide what kind of a vehicle to purchase. And right now, they're not buying electric vehicles. We have to ask ourselves as a society and a government why that is. Right now, unsold inventory of electric vehicles is almost twice as high across the country as internal combustion engine vehicles. So these are a choice, even with the subsidized purchase price of electric vehicles today, this is a choice that consumers are already rejecting. So the first problem is that electric vehicles are substantially more expensive than internal combustion engine vehicles, even with a subsidized purchase price. And obviously, if California completely bans the sale of internal combustion engines and requires all vehicles to be electric, they're not all going to be subsidized. So this problem is going to get even worse. Also, there's the problem of operating costs. Obviously, you don't have to buy fuel for an electric vehicle, but you do have to pay for the electricity it takes to charge the battery. And that electricity for my constituents is becoming more and more expensive and less affordable. In my own hometown, the electric provider recently submitted a rate case to the California Public Utilities Commission seeking permission to boost the base rate for residential electricity up over 40 cents a kilowatt hour. And that's the base rate, and that's this year, not 2035. Just try to make a financial case for owning an electric vehicle if you have to pay 40 cents a kilowatt hour to charge it. I've done the math. I can tell you it absolutely does not work, and that's going to be worse for my constituents 12 years from now than it is today. Now, to be clear, none of us are anti-electric vehicle, but we are very much in favor of allowing consumers to make their own choices when it comes to deciding what vehicles they're going to purchase for themselves and for their households. That's what H.R. 1435 preserves, is the freedom for our constituents to choose the vehicle that works best for them. So I urge my colleagues to support this very meaningful legislation and to move us forward in not only making the earth greener, but also making our country a freer place for the people that we represent. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from California, Mr. Ruiz.